You hit 29, you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm turning 30, that age that everybody was talking about. And the age that I've also created in my head with this narrative that I'm going to be a certain thing by 30.
Yeah.
So now it just feels like the world is crumbling piece by piece, but it's not. It's actually
really
not. Yeah, it's like Y2K, like all
But you know,
over again.
it's funny because it reminds me of, of course, I don't know if they do this anymore. Well, yeah, when you check, when they ask you the range of anything you're at, they
your
ask
age
the age range, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I finally checked the 55 plus box, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then pre stuff started coming to the house, and I was like, does that mean I'm getting old?
Welcome to the Uninvited Guest Podcast.
Hosted by Samina
and Marissa.
We are the mother-daughter duo.
Turn one of your little friends.
Get ready to ditch the filters.
We're trying to break generational curses. Here, the conversations must flow free because our real life interpersonal growth depends on it. So get ready to be a part of the twists and turns in our own life stories that could give any comic book baddie a run for their money.
If you're up for some heartfelt storytelling that celebrates growth, resilience, and the struggle to keep going, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Middle school.
Yes, you were.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But I told you.
Yeah, don't say hello. They all say, hey, Mom. That's not cool. Okay,
we
whatever.
all at some point think our parents are not cool enough. I didn't even think you were cool enough to say hi. That's so funny because of all of the greetings today, I would say hey.
Yeah.
I still say hey.
Right.
I'm like hi.
Right.
I say hi a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think I still say hello though.
Yeah.
And you did traumatize me with when I didn't answer your text message, you'd be like, hello, in all caps. And I'm like, why?
That means I'm trying to get your attention. I'm sure I'm not the only parent that does it, by the way.
I'm sure. Well, Hi.
Hi. My name is Samina. I am your resident host, menopausal mommy, with 7 years from retirement, recording from my home in Dallas, Texas. I have open tabs that range from real estate in Costa Rica, because I'm still looking for my dream house, and laundry symbols. Marissa, have you looked at the symbols in the labels on the symbols of your clothes recently?
I'm gonna say no because
Of course.
Whoa.
Of course.
Why is that?
Because you don't wash right anyway. You just throw them all in there together.
You know what? That's your perception of me. I do. I separate by colors, delicates, all the things. See, you didn't even think I knew that. I do. I'm so meticulous about that, which is so funny. Even you made me do that when I was a kid. So I don't know why you don't. Never mind. Whatever. Anyways, universal symbols, or they're not universal symbols. So what did you learn?
I learned that there's all kind of symbols, and there's there's 3 different symbols for the same thing. It's ridiculous.
So they've gotten rid of
words. They've gotten rid of words instead of something simple like
picture books.
Wash in cold or wash in hot. Do not bleach. Dry clean only. They're all symbols.
That's so
So
interesting.
you have to know the symbols to know how to do the laundry.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's pure laziness, I think.
Yeah, I don't. But I would think that's even harder. There's more work that goes into that than just saying machine cold.
Maybe the labels
Delicate.
don't have to be as long anymore.
Oh.
You see? Because literally it was...
That is where we're trying to cut waste? Are you kidding me?
There's 5 symbols in a label. They're all across. So before, you have to have it, they write it down. So maybe that's why.
That would be the weirdest sustainability initiative ever.
I didn't say it was about sustainability.
You're right.
They're probably thinking about, this is less money we have to spend on material.
That's wild.
Anyway.
Well, hi. My name is Marissa. I am your resident host, Zillennial, with 145 days until I turn 30. And sorry, that just overwhelms me as the clock just keeps ticking.
I don't hear a clock.
Well, in my head, it's definitely ticking.
It's a beautiful thing, though.
It is. It is. I think that the world just hypes up big numbers.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just the pressure is on. And I think everybody just, when you hit 29, you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm turning 30, that age that everybody was talking about. And the age that I've also created in my head with this narrative that I'm going to be a certain thing by 30.
Yeah.
So now it just feels like the world is crumbling piece by piece, but it's not. It's actually
really
not. Yeah, it's like Y2K. Like
but you know, it's funny because it reminds me of, you know, of course I don't know if they do this anymore. Well, yeah, when you check, Mark, when they ask you the range of anything you're at, they ask the age range, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I finally checked the 55 plus box, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then pre stuff started coming to the house, and I was like, does that mean I'm getting old? But then I realized, oh, wait a minute. I could get a senior discount. You know what? I'm going to embrace this. Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know any discount I get at 30.
You don't get a discount at 30.
Right now, it's just like anxiety compounded on the anxiety I already had. But yeah, I'm also anxious about my ranging tabs right now because I need a clean laundry detergent. I also would like laser hair removal because my lady parts are a little sensitive. And I accidentally washed with scents in my laundry and I am paying for it. I'm
sorry.
It's fine. It's not fine, but it's fine. I'm telling myself it's fine.
Yeah. This too shall pass.
Yeah, I need it.
Just uncomfortable at the moment, but this too shall pass.
Yeah. So those are my tabs. Also, I'm like trying to see, because the last time I had laser hair removal was so long ago. I'm just curious if there's like a new thing, because the reason why I stopped is because they said if you take like vitamins or supplements that are for your hair, like biotin, don't take if you're doing laser hair removal because your hair will grow back. And I'm like, okay, well, it's just like offsetting cost. Like,
I got a question about cost. Is that expensive?
Yeah, but it's like worth it because of how long it lasts.
Okay.
And I would rather do that than waxing, even though I could probably just go back to waxing too. Anyways, whatever. That's what I'm going through right now. Now you all know. So feel free to give me the recommendations of what works for y'all on laundry detergent or hair removal. Whoa, that was a close one. All right, so we always start out with the word of the week. What are you feeling this week?
Confused.
Confused.
Yes.
Why are you confused?
I mean, I opened up my checking account.
Yeah.
Just checking to make sure no one's hacked into the account or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any money for them to hack into, but I was just checking it.
Yeah.
And I saw this $150 from Amazon, and it said it was exactly $150. I don't buy anything. Amazon doesn't have anything for even amounts, right? So I was like, that was a trigger.
Oh yeah,
right away.
like check it.
Right? And I was like, and it said payment. And I was like, payment?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have any bills through Amazon. So I was literally about to call the bank and dispute this charge. But then I was like, let me just click on what it says.
Yeah. It was like membership.
And it was
Prime.
It said Prime. And I'm like,
wait, they're $150 now?
It's $150.
And now I feel like Prime has become lazier. Like, I know there are some.
It used to be where it was
overnight.
every day, but now it's not. You know, they would guarantee next day. Very few things that you can get the next day, and if you do the overnight, you still got to pay a certain amount before you can do it.
Yeah. They really got us.
Yeah.
Like, they hooked us with like the great deals, and then now people just feel like they can't get rid of the Prime. So, but I think living in LA, it's interesting because we have such a large distribution center, like you can get almost anything same day or next day, overnight, like early overnight. So it is worth it in like major cities. But
I'm in a major city.
I know.
And you still don't get a lot of things the next day anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange.
weird.
But I have to rethink
Yeah.
if I want to still can do Amazon Prime.
We got it for a whole year now, so it's,
Oh, you're right.
at least keep it for the year. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, let's get into it.
Okay. Well, do you have a word?
Oh.
What's your word for the week?
I'm excited.
Excited?
I'm going to see my baby, my other baby.
That means she's leaving me.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me sad. That's word number 2 of the week.
Sorry. I'll be back. I'm just ready to go kiss my man. You know, I just want to cuddle.
Okay.
You don't cuddle me. You got menopause. You be sweating.
Oh,
So
no. Oof, Lord, you right. Okay.
So yeah, that's my word. I'm excited. Also, I just feel like things are clearing up, like project-wise, work-wise. I think I'm starting to see the light, even though it's still very fuzzy.
Mm-hmm. But you can see a dimmer out there. You can see
Yeah.
a little,
And that's all really you need as an entrepreneur. You just need to see like a dim light that says you're getting close.
Yeah.
And so those weeks I really do hold on to.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you.
Thanks. I appreciate
I'm proud of
it.
you.
Thanks. That goes a long way too, definitely from like your parents. But check back next week. It might be completely opposite from excited. I might be like
That's just
this.
life. I understand.
It is. All right. Well, now we can get into it. And I'm excited about this conversation.
You are? Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited because it's something that, like, when we tell people our story, from my perspective, when I'm talking to people, I have to mention this because it's so important and key. Sorry, I don't know why I just had a fear that my mic was not on. But it's so important and key to talk about what I mentioned in the last episode of like, I was a part of student council in high school, and my junior year, we went on this retreat. All of the schools within the district had representatives go, and I was one of them. And it was a no texting and driving. It was sponsored by AT&T, and they put us in like simulations and exercises where you really saw the dangers of texting and driving. It was like a scare tactic now that I think about it. Along with the exercises that they made us complete, on one of them being that I had to write a final letter as if I knew that I was going to die. What would I tell my parents or just like the people I love? And I also had to ask my parents to write my obituary. Now, mind you, I wasn't really in communication with my mom. So to like have you do that was like, I mean, please interject and like share, because I remember how you reacted to when I called and asked you.
I don't remember that. I don't really remember that.
You were like so anti.
But I'm sure I was anti.
Yeah, you were like, I'm not doing that. And I was like, well, it's a school project. You have no choice. And like, I'm pretty sure my attitude was probably at that level too. Yeah. Because I didn't even want to call you to do it. But you did. You eventually wrote it. I wonder if we can find that somewhere. I don't. My teacher might still have it. Okay. Anyways, my goodbye letter and the obituary was so impactful because no one knew my story. No one knew our story. And everyone knew Dad to be such a great dad, to which he is. So they just thought, oh, that's the narrative, you know? But they didn't know I loved you as deep as I did because you just never really came up, except for like in close conversations with my best friends. And yeah, so my teacher requested that I read my final letter to the entire student body after our retreat was over. And I cried through the entire thing, and my mom was in the crowd. And that's when I like really had shame and guilt in my heart that I had ignored you, and you were always there. Like I
never gave up.
Yeah, you never gave up, and you never stopped supporting me. And even though it took some time, I was 17, and we really started to slowly, it was a slow burn, rekindling our relationship.
Yeah.
So there's that, but also in one of the moments, we were hanging out.
Right.
And we went out to eat, and I was still living with Dad. Like, we're still trying.
Right.
And we both had the same thing at this seafood shack.
That we loved.
It was like a stop near my old private school.
Yeah.
And it was like spicy. It was just all the things.
Yeah.
And the next day, actually that day I felt bad shortly
But
after
I didn't
that.
know
But
that.
she didn't know. Yeah, I just hid it. And then the next day, I remember I just did not want to get up to go to school. Dad was like not having it. He was like, "You're fine."
Ice bucket.
Yeah, ice bucket it, which was my dad's like remedy for everything. And then you were like, I called you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you called me.
I called you to call the school on my behalf and check me out for the day, or call me out. And you also said no.
Right.
But with such hesitation and frustration, I'm sure. But I mean, I don't want to speak for you, so I'll let you.
Well, I mean, yeah, it didn't make sense to me. I felt like, why would you call me? You live with your dad.
Yeah.
Your dad is your guardian at this point during school.
Yeah.
Right? So why would you call me to call you out of school?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you call your dad?
Yeah.
So obviously in my head, I'm pretty sure in my head I thought she did call her dad and her dad said no. And now she's calling me. She's trying to play me for a fool, but no, this is not happening.
Yeah. Which that wasn't the case. I had never felt this bad in my life, and I had no idea what was going on. It was so bad that day that, and this is so embarrassing that I'm saying this on camera, but I've also told this to so many people that I'm getting ready to walk out into the garage to my car, and I literally feel warm liquid run down my leg, and I was like, did I just start my period? And I run to my bathroom really quick because I'm like, oh, I gotta get to school. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, nobody's gonna let me go. No, nobody's gonna say I can't make it to school today.
Yeah, so I go to the bathroom and it's brown. And I was like, my period's not brown. What is this? So I wipe, and I just had a realization that
You had diarrhea.
I shat myself, and I was like, what is going on? Like, so in all embarrassment that I had, and just compounded on the frustration of not being able to stay home from school that day, I cleaned myself up, and then I went about my day. Like, I went to school in so much pain. And then I eventually got to student council class, which was like later in the day, but still with hours left until, school release. And I told my student council teacher, I was like, I need to go to the hospital. Like, will you take me? Not she take me. I was like, can you release me and my best friend, who's also in student council? And she was like, yes, absolutely. Like, go take care of yourself. So we went to the hospital, and I think, did I call you?
I did not know you were in the hospital.
No, because we can't forget to mention this part of the story. Where, was it when I called you, you were like, are you pregnant?
When you called me to be absent to tell me you're not feeling good.
Yeah.
And you said you think it was from the food. I think is what you told me, right?
Yeah. I thought I thought it was like food poisoning.
That's right. And I was like, but we had the same thing. That doesn't make sense to me. And I said to you, are you pregnant?
Yeah. I was just like, are you kidding? But as a kid, you have natural just like fears, and you're like, I am pregnant. And so I I asked my friend to take me to the hospital. She did. She took me to the neighborhood hospital, and I had many injuries prior to that, so I knew how to use my health insurance independently and navigate that whole process. So we did. We went to the hospital, got checked in, and I told my best friend, still to this day, don't call my parents until they administer the pregnancy test for me. And they did, and I wasn't pregnant, obviously. But my dad eventually came, and then based on my symptoms, they had asked for me to have a colonoscopy
Right.
The following day or so.
It was very shortly after that, that's for sure.
Yeah. And then I'm a little tired of talking when you say the
Well, I mean, the one thing I can say after when you were at the hospital, oh my goodness, that was not me, I promise. After, going to the hospital, well, first of all, let me just say, your diagnosis, I always say, was a blessing in disguise, right? There's many things, but going to the hospital, and we've visited many hospitals around the metropolitan area because your illness and the breaks that you had. I wasn't pleased, obviously, you know that, with the doctor that we first had from the emergency room or whoever they scheduled you to have for the colonoscopy, because they really didn't have any good bedside manners.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they even though they knew your diagnosis, right? I don't think they understood the diagnosis.
Yeah.
And so with that, they just left us to find out for ourselves, which was almost the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
I do remember when, as you're laying there, and I guess I never, at that point, I still didn't realize that you were as sick as you were, because I still had to go to work after your test, after we got the results. And I remember the doctor giving us a pamphlet, and and you asking me, what can I eat? Because the pamphlet, basically, it was an elimination diet and start with bland food. And you're like, are you kidding me? And the doctor also saying to me and your dad, just read the pamphlet. If you have any questions, call us. Don't look at the internet. Well, who's not going to look? If you tell me not to look at the internet, who's not going to look on the internet? Obviously. So we looked on the internet. I looked on the internet once I got to work. And of course, I went down a rabbit hole and to find out that, there's cocktails of medicine that people that are diagnosed with Crohn's that had taken. I mean, things have gotten a lot better now, obviously, the medicine. And, the surgeries of people losing, they're having to cut their intestines. And normally once they cut, they're going to have to continue to do that to clean out the ulcers and put it back together. And then, of course, leads to death. And I just remember being at work that same day that you had your diagnosis, just bawling because I couldn't believe that my baby, this is happening to my baby. I'm like, how? And at that moment, I wished, and I'm sure any parent can relate, that I could have taken that burden away from you, because I felt like that was so unfair. You had so much life left in you, and, and I had lived already enough. So if the roles were reversed, I would have rather taken on that burden for you. But in retrospect, obviously, you have moved on gracefully. You've learned to handle it. It was a struggle for you in the very beginning. You were very mad, and you going on to college in Maryland, like in Baltimore. That's where I say was the blessing in disguise, because if you would have went anywhere other than where you went to school, close, you would have never been close to Johns Hopkins, one of the best hospitals in the country. And we were fed with so much knowledge. Your doctors and his staff was amazing.
Dr. Mark Lazarev. I don't even know if he's still at Johns Hopkins, but I still remember his name. That diagnosis was 2013. So, And I haven't had communication since, I think, about 2015. He still kept in touch with me here and there, offline. That's how much of a great doctor he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Random shout out. If anybody's in Baltimore and needs a gastro, I hope he's still working. Yeah. But yeah, it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
And I think it was a blessing in disguise for me too, because from that moment of reading my final letter to that diagnosis and you reading like to death, like she could die, and you just wrote my obituary, fake obituary. I was like, it helped me kind of release the tension of how I was going to get back to you, because we both kind of like put aside everything to just reconnect.
Right.
And it was still, it took time, but like it felt a lot faster.
Oh yeah.
And even I will say, like, you and Dad, like, I remember, to me, outside of the Thanksgiving I hosted, where I was like mandatory that both of you came. I think that healed a part of my inner child that wanted to see my parents come together for me.
Yeah.
Because you guys were always at everything, but you were there and separate.
Right.
I always had to like go see you, say hi, and then go find Dad and go say hi and like do that. And in that moment, I was just like, ha, y'all have no choice. So.
The plot thickens. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. I intentionally got Crohn's because I was, this'll do it. Like, that is such an extreme case. But yeah, like, essentially, that was, for me, that was very healing. Or it started a healing journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say I would trade it for it, because I would definitely want you to be fully healthy. I mean, you're healthy now, but but it's always something that's going to be there. So, I mean, I would have preferred a less drastic route to get to this, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we are where we are, and you know that I love you, and you can always count on your mom. Has always been able to count on your mom.
Always.
You may have not known that, but always.
I see it now. Like, now it's so clear and evident. We'll get into it at some point, I'm sure. But like, my first year of college I was in Baltimore, like she said, and my mom was there every day. So it felt like every day. Like, my friends were literally like, "Do your mom work?" I was like, "She does."
I work. I just burned a lot of vacation time.
Yeah.
To spend with you. I felt it was important. And not just me. I mean, just think about it. Your grandma came, your aunt came.
Yeah. Some of my cousins came.
Yes. An ex-boyfriend of mine came.
Oh, yeah. You know, without you.
Without me. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah. So,
I was going to say his name, and then I was like, no. Shout out. I just love you. I still love you. Yeah. But it felt good to have such a strong community at that time. It's still now, you know, but at 18, going off to college, starting your first real taste of independence. Yeah, like, and I'm an introvert, an extroverted introvert. So I didn't think my college experience was going to be like the partying, and I couldn't, like, that diagnosis really nipped everything in the bud for me.
Right.
And so, but it also made me filter my friendships more delicately of like, who do I want in my life? Seriously.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud to say that I do have some very close to my heart friends.
Yeah.
Who really cared for me then and showed it when they didn't have to, because like they were in college too.
Right.
To now, and we're all like grown up.
Yeah.
They actually both, the two friends that I'm thinking of, Jasmine and David, both have kids.
Yeah.
Like, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Shout out to both of them. And I even thank them both because, when things went awry, when I would get a call saying you're not feeling well, especially Jasmine, she was my go-to. So she was the person that I was in most communication with until I could get to you, until I could get on a plane to get to you. And shout out to Jasmine for always making sure that, I was aware of what was going on, and also making sure me telling you if you're not feeling well, stay home or go to the hospital. Because I know sometimes you could be stubborn. And this is I shouldn't say stubborn, just as an athlete, like you just, you
I didn't want to miss
feel
a
like
game.
you can push through it, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
And then unfortunately with Crohn's, people can't see it that you're not feeling well, but you feel it. And that's the hardest thing. So I know when people can't see, they feel like, oh, well, nothing's wrong with her.
Right.
But, you could always count on Jasmine to say that, hey, look, and Jasmine, I know on several occasions had told you just to stay in your room and rest.
Yeah. Yeah. Invisible illnesses, like on that topic, are really hard. Like, I've grown such empathy for just people, again, like you saying, like, me traveling the world was helpful to me understanding humanity, but also me being diagnosed with an invisible illness made me become more empathetic for people because you just don't know what people are going through.
Yeah.
And that is just really tough because I'm like, oh, you look so great. And they're like, great, I do not feel well.
Great.
Like,
right.
And there were so many days where that was my scenario.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you are battling an invisible illness, I would say release it. Like, tell people. People just don't know. And then to the people that are on the other end, and you may know someone or you're just encountering humanity, just lead with a little bit more empathy. You really don't know. And we don't expect you to be like our nurses or our caretakers, but an ear is just enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And even not even just an ear, just like you saying, being empathetic to the person, just knowing, just actually reaching out to them. So even, just saying like, hey, how are you feeling? I mean, what do you think? I mean, I didn't go through it, but I'm thinking for people that I know that have struggled, you just check on them, just like, hey, I haven't heard from you a while, or thinking about you, making sure you're okay. Yeah. Because sometimes when you're down, you're not apt to reach out to people.
Yeah.
You're not going to necessarily call them and say, because you don't want to be a burden. So you're not going to say, hey, I'm not feeling well. Can you bring me whatever? Or can you see what I'm saying? But for those that's on the other end, we should reach out. I know that. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was in Baltimore a lot with you.
Yeah. Because
I wanted to make sure that you're okay. And the only way I could know that you're okay is I had to be there.
Yeah.
Right? And
see
you, yeah. You, listen to you, make sure you're eating. I didn't put you on a scale, but
yeah. Yeah, that time was so weird, but I was so tired. I don't even know how. I mean, other than I'm sure age.
Yeah.
Right? The age of the diagnosis. Me being 17, 18.
Yeah.
Helped with my energy, but I was so fatigued.
Yeah.
It was just,
By the way, did you ever, because I know there were times that I came for a week at a time. I loved Airbnb. Did you ever stay with me? I think you did at least once or twice.
I think I came by.
Okay.
I don't think I ever stayed because I was always in season when you came to visit.
Right.
So we, 5 a.m. workouts on the track. Like I was not chancing being late to that.
Right.
And also I pushed that alarm. to I had a pre-workout to my workout, and I would run to make sure I was at conditioning or whatever on time. So yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, you really were like Airbnb's trial customer.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Because that was 2013.
I loved Airbnb. I mean, it taught me, well, first of all, just to be able to be in a space by myself, you know,
That's interesting.
to travel by myself, you know. But I know I was traveling to you, but I was staying at a location by myself, you know, because I came a lot by myself.
Yeah.
And so, and I just went to different pockets of Baltimore, and I got to learn so much about the city and, you know, the different communities. And I really, really, I'm telling you, if you wouldn't have went to school, I probably would have never been on, you know, been aware of how much Airbnb, the people offer, you know, their homes at Airbnb, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought it was just a beauty, because, you know, learned about different markets during different times of the years, and you know, different shops and malls, and it was all in the neighborhoods, which was, you know, because you know that if you were going to stay there, we were going to either buy a brownstone, or you know, find something at least to rent, to make sure that's the place that you wanted to be. And so
No, I think that is where I definitely fell in love with a brownstone. And like once I was able to get one-ish in Dallas, I was so excited, because it did feel like the experience of Baltimore that I wanted, that I wasn't able to get, which we'll talk about that but later. But yeah, the brownstones were so cool. They're still so just like beautiful to me. There's so much character. I just remember seeing all the doors and different colors, and yeah, but I do love that actually about you, that you, even in my season of, I guess, departure, you were still learning about yourself. I didn't know that. Like literally, this is new news to me. New news. That's crazy. But yeah, it makes sense. And are you still an Airbnb? We're going to hopefully Costa Rica to go.
No, it's not definitely hope. We are definitely going to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because you know, they are saying to live in Costa Rica,
you must live amongst the bugs.
You must live, if you're going to buy, let's take the back. So if you're going to buy in Costa Rica, you're going to buy a home, you need to know where you want to live. Do you really want to live on the beach? Do you want to live in the rainforest? Do you want to, you know, do you want to be on the Pacific side? Do you want to be on the Caribbean side? There's so much to offer, and you really need to make sure that's what.
Sorry, I think you have a little bugs.
Oh, gross!
It just came. It's fine. Yeah. Anyways.
You know that you need to be aware, because they say most people don't make it. Like after a couple years, it's because it's not what they expect, and they may bought too soon. You know, which is, you know, I told you that's, you know, I'm going to eventually at least do a month every year, a Spanish immersion every year in different areas of Costa Rica until retirement. Yeah. So I can get an idea.
Yeah.
Of where I want to be.
Talking about Spanish immersion, we've gotten so off topic, but I got through the heavy, and I felt myself tearing up when we were talking about Crohn's and all of that. So I love that we're on a lighter topic. Yes. But speaking of Spanish immersion, was it 2020 where you were just like, I'm going to learn Spanish? And I literally thought she was joking. I was like, no, she's sure, whatever. And do you know your streak? Do you have your phone right now?
I do.
Yo, my
don't know my streak.
I'm her biggest fan, because.
Can you see that?
Which one? Which one is it?
Right
that
there.
one?
Yes.
Okay. Yo, she is on day 1,207 on Duolingo. Like, I don't know if this will even show on the it's insane how much she's completed. Like, I would have to, that's only section 5. I don't want to mess this up. Anyways, there you go. But she really committed to it, because, and I think that's what's so beautiful also in knowing that you're going to choose Costa Rica, is you're not making them succumb to what you've known of life. Like you are really going to embrace.
Oh, embrace the culture, embrace the country.
Are you going to embrace the bugs?
Okay.
Okay, so since I was a kid, I would only hear my name for the most part screamed when she needed me to kill a bug or remove it from the house.
I'm hoping wherever I plant myself, the bugs will know to not be with me because, as you know, my other half, speaking of people not making it, he always says, I'm going to have the suitcase ready to leave because you're not going to make it with these bugs. He's like, do you know how many bugs there are and snakes and just nature?
Yeah.
And all the things.
All the things.
And I'm hoping I'm going to be a better person. I'm hoping I'm not going to be as squeamish.
Well, you've grown. You've grown since I've moved.
Yeah.
Right. And you've had to like home.
I've had to
alone.
I have had to tackle some of the bugs myself.
Yeah. And you do it. You still scream.
Oh, I still scream.
But you do it.
And I let it sit there for a minute too after.
Yeah, you want
no,
to
not
make
a minute. Not a minute. It might actually sit a day.
Yeah.
Let me be honest to make sure.
Like, I'm going to make sure you do. But I will say, Texas cockroaches are like any other, but Costa Rica's probably got to run for your money with the amount of bugs and wildlife.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm going to be better.
I think you will.
Yeah, like going, like we go to Jamaica, I don't necessarily scream for bugs there when I see things. So I'm hoping it'll be more like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we do go up to see like family and our roots. So you're there. Yeah. Actually, you're there more than you think you are.
I think so. I think so.
All right. You can do this. I love this for you. Well, I think this is a beautiful episode. I think it's fair to like stop here. Got a little bit of heaviness, a little bit of lightness, a lot of vulnerability in our story, how we got here, part 17 million, because there's going to be a lot of those to like catch up to 29 and 58. But I think we'll play into it because I think we're still like uncovering.
Every day,
I
think we uncover more and more. Yeah. Like we don't, that does link with that. That actually is associated. So yeah. So we're discovering as we're going along.
Yeah. Thinking about association though, maybe, and on this note, we now laugh hysterically because my Nana and Papa have a cabin in Colorado, and we used to go for like summers where the kids would go.
Yeah, don't say we. I didn't get to go. Mama had to work.
We still don't know the age, but I was within the age range of.
I say 5 or 6. You say older.
I think I was older because I'm just like, I don't know. I just think I was older. Anyways, that was my first encounter of crapping the bed.
You're mini crones. We didn't know.
We had no idea. I completely let a whole bowel movement go in my pajamas with my family.
They were footed pajamas. So it wasn't even like, so everything was, I wasn't there. That's probably was a blessing too. I wasn't there on that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and they had to turn on, because this was so long ago. They had to turn on the generator to like turn on the lights and get me in the bathtub. And oh man, what a nightmare. But that was, we think now, like that was like.
Looking back, that was like the beginning. Like that was a sign that we had no idea at the time. Yeah,
it was coming. What's to come? For tuning in to another episode of Uninvited Guest. We look forward to having another conversation and bringing you along this journey of healing our past, cherishing our present, and honoring the future. I love you.
Love you too.
I'll see you on my next trip in.
All righty. Can't wait to have you.
Okay. Bye.